is a segment of Happy Speech. I'm Lynn. I'm a keto and intermittent fasting coach. I've been living the keto lifestyle for 2 years and loving it. And today I wanted to share with you 12 practical benefits that I've noticed since starting keto. Now, in my last video, which I'll link below, I discussed 18 health benefits and I forgot one, a really super duper important one, immunity. In the 2 years that I have been doing keto and intermittent fasting, I have gotten sick one time. And that one time revolved around a very stressful event for me. And I had to work with people I didn't know very well. I had to do something I wasn't used to doing, didn't have a lot of experience with. And so I lost some sleep around that event. And I also had to eat food that was prepared for me. So I did do some fasting. But I did go off of keto somewhat, and so I ended up with this illness. It wasn't really even anything all that serious, but I did get sick. And outside of that, I did not get sick at all. I didn't have sniffles. I didn't have an itchy or sore throat. And that, to me, is really amazing. That speaks very, very highly to me of this diet because we had made health changes years ago that I've talked about in other videos. And we definitely at that point got sick less often. Our illnesses were less severe and we got over them more quickly. But they still did exist. We still did get sick. So to not get sick at all is really a huge, huge benefit. All right, so now jumping into the practical benefits that I have noticed. Number one is diminishing thoughts around food. And this is kind of a big one. Prior to keto, my mind, and I don't even know if I really realized it, was constantly perseverating on food. The next meal I would make and eat, the next snack, the next drink, it just went on and on. It was always rolling around in the back of my mind. And so I have sensed a tremendous freedom of thinking about food. There's so much more to life than food. So I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm not thinking about my next meal and food all the time. Improved mood. Definitely an overall improved mood since starting keto. And I guess you could put this in the health category if you wanted to. But for me, it's practical. The practical living of life and just feeling a lighter mood is just amazing. And I have to say, it's the most amazing around my fast. So I fast 1 day a week. And that day just ends up being this really elevated mood. And the further I go into the fast, the higher my ketones are getting and the better my mood is. So I have to say, the next day when I break my fast, there's always this little twinge of sadness about breaking the fast because I just know that that heightened mood and really excellent outlook on life is going to diminish just a little bit. Not bad, but it's so intense during my fast. Number 3 would be a greater capacity to handle stress. So I mentioned this stressful event that I had about this time last year. And my husband commented afterwards, like, you faced that and you just went through it, and you didn't fall apart or get really upset. And it's true. I'm just handling stressful situations better. So that's an awesome practical reality that I enjoy. The other one is handling anxiety, which is kind of similar, worrying. I just don't worry the way I used to. And I think the thing that's definitely intensely different about it is when I would worry, I would actually feel it almost physiologically in my body. And I just don't feel that anymore. There's just I feel of more sound integrity in my inner life. And so I just don't, it's not that I don't experience anxiety. I would say I do, and it's something I want to keep working on, but it's not intense like it was, and I'm experiencing it differently and definitely in a more healthy way. Okay, number 5, productivity. I can't even compare my productivity now to really any other time in my life. On keto, I am just way more productive. Prior to keto, I was getting to where I didn't want to make lists because I didn't want to stare at things I wasn't getting done. I just was really starting to feel just weak and diminished and not very hopeful about accomplishing things. And now I don't feel that way. I'm happy to make a list. I'm excited to make a list, and I'm excited to check things off. So productivity is a big one. Number 6, craving healthier foods. Both my husband, Mike, and I noticed that once we got rid of the intense carbohydrates and we really lowered the carbohydrates, we just started craving things like asparagus and salads. Now, it's not that we didn't like vegetables, but we actually crave those things now. And that's just, and we feel so good eating them. So that's a really exciting thing. Then number 7, keto tastes great. I do not find myself wanting to eat any other way. I'm not waiting for this diet to end so that I can dive into some goodie. I am very happy. The diet tastes good. It's got just wonderful fats in it that are very nourishing and tasty. And I can eat until I'm full. And that fullness lasts for a long time. So, it just tastes great. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not looking for anything else. Keto is also easy. It is easier than anything I've done before. I used to always think of my plate as being divided up into 3 portions: a protein, a vegetable, and a starch. And I no longer have to worry about that starch. So now my plate is really divided just 2 ways. Initially, when I started keto, I kind of felt like I had to replace that starch with a second vegetable. And sometimes I will still do that if I feel like I have extra time, if I'm in the mood for that, but I don't in any way feel like I have to. So it's easier in that I'm just making 2 things for a meal, instead of 3. So that's a lot easier. It's also a lot easier in the fact that we're just having 2 meals, instead of 3. I'm not really eating a breakfast. I have a coffee with fat in it that sustains me until my lunch. And so there's 2 meals, and I'm not eating snacks. And so it really is pretty easy. And it took me a little time to gather up some recipes. I would say that's kind of more the challenging part. But that doesn't take too long, and there's so many good cookbooks out there, and there's so much on the internet. So there's lots of places to glean for those things. So I really feel like keto is easy. Number 9, diminished thoughts about weight. I used to always be worried about my weight because it was gradually growing. So you wonder where's that going to end? Is it not going to end? So I dreaded weighing myself, and actually now I do typically, not even every week, but I'll weigh myself around my fast. But I'm not thinking about my weight anymore. That's another thought, that was on my mind a lot. And I just don't feel that way. In fact, I work out less now than I ever did. I did not change my workout routine with this diet. And I miss more days, and I don't lose any sleep over that because I don't really feel like my weight had very little to do with the workout routine. It had way more to do with what I was eating and way more to do with the amount of carbohydrates that I was eating. So I just am not having these perseverating thoughts around my weight. And I will say, practically speaking also, heading into a dressing room, if I, before keto, wanted to buy a dress for a wedding, let's say I would take 6 dresses into a dressing room, one of those would be flattering enough for me and look decent enough for me to buy. Now, and if this is assuming that I did have the right size in these dresses. Now if I take 6 dresses into a dressing room, 5 out of the 6 will fit and be flattering. And I really have this tough decision, weighing each dress out to decide which one I'm actually going to pick. So it's a very, very different experience. Practically speaking, I do not dread shopping. So all of that's kind of under the whole weight thing. And there's a lot of freedom from thinking about that. Depression. I never realized, but before keto, I really had a lot of down thoughts. I just was sad a lot. And I definitely would tell people that I have seasonal affective disorder, because I hated winter. As soon as Christmas and the New Year were over, a painful dread came over me, and I felt a sort of inner desperation about it. So I really do think that was real. Now I don't feel that way. I just don't feel an inner angst about it. I don't feel a heaviness or a desperation around winter. I don't like it. If given the opportunity to move south, I probably would, because I love sunshine and warm weather and being outside, but it's totally different, okay? Number 11, enjoying life more. In general, I just go through life with a lot more enjoyment. I feel a lot more hope. I was starting to worry about the whole aging process. I'm 52 and was becoming concerned, and I just feel good about it. I feel good about how I'm feeling at 52. And whereas I was worrying about it and thinking about it a lot, and it really zapped joy for me. And then lastly is just the whole food prep thing, because I'm not making snacks. I'm not making meals that have a lot more parts. So food prep is just a ton easier. And I do enjoy doing some Saturday food prep, because that just lightens the load during the week. So I try to make like a few things that we eat every day, and like salad, I'll make a big bowl of lettuce. So get that all ready to go, because we do eat a lot of salads throughout the week. And then I'll prep a couple of items for every, for meals, so that I have something done for every meal, so that through the week it's just a piece of cake. So yeah, so food prep has just been way easier and less time consuming, which is just enabling me to get more things done. So it has been great. So those are my 12 practical benefits. I would love to hear if you've experienced some of these, or if you've experienced some that are different, maybe that I didn't mention. Thank you so much for visiting today. I would love it if you would like this video, if you would subscribe, if you're finding this helpful. And I hope, as we are heading now into 2020, this video is being done on New Year's Eve. So I just want to wish you a happy 2020. I'm excited for your keto journey. Ask me any questions. I'm really just here to help. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.